Hello, listeners. You're probably wondering why there's an additional episode this week, if you're one of my regular listeners. Well, today I have something special for you. I've decided to do an extra series of podcast episodes for bookkeepers, but don't worry, my normal weekly podcast will drop at their regular times. I know that the listeners of this podcast are made up of a mixture of entrepreneurs who either want to start their own business, they're self-employed, solopreneurs, small business owners, bookkeepers, and virtual assistants. Since I provide information on managing your small business finances, this mixture of listeners is expected. But I wanted to have a series of podcast episodes for individuals that will focus on bookkeepers, those who are thinking about or want to start a bookkeeping business, or they already have a bookkeeping business, but they want to grow or scale their existing bookkeeping business. If you're a business owner and you're wondering if you should be doing your own bookkeeping, this episode will be helpful for you as well. And you may learn a thing or two about doing your own bookkeeping. I know that bookkeepers are in demand, and this is the time of the year when business owners are searching for bookkeepers to help them with their finances. I'm going to start this series off with a question I want you to ask yourself if you're thinking about starting a bookkeeping business. Is owning a bookkeeping business right for you? Bookkeeping isn't the right fit for everyone. So if you've been thinking about starting a bookkeeping business, listen into today's episode where I'll cover what it takes to be a bookkeeper. And by the end of this episode, you'll know if you have what it takes to own your own bookkeeping business, and if bookkeeping is right for you. You're listening to the Mastering Your Small Business Finances podcast, where we get straight to the point on topics that ultimately affect your bottom line. That's right, as an entrepreneur with a small business, money management, growth, marketing, they all affect your bottom line. I'm your host, Chris Ponick. I'm a certified public accountant, and I've been helping small business owners like you navigate and easily understand these complicated topics for over 25 years. I'm a wife, a mom, a grandmother, and a small business owner myself, so I know your time is valuable. In my free time, I make the best sugar cookies and have mastered an amazing chocolate chip cookie recipe. And that's not just my opinion. You're in the right place. I promise your time will be well spent here. Each week you'll gain confidence and clarity while making a successful impact on your business and grow your bottom line. Get comfy, grab a cookie, and let's get straight to the point with this week's episode. Are you looking for a computerized software solution to do your bookkeeping? I highly recommend checking out QuickBooks Online. I've been using QuickBooks myself for over 20 years, and they really know how to streamline processes and make your bookkeeping and recording your transactions simple and easy. QuickBooks is one of the top software solutions used by small business owners, and I would say that over 95% of my clients are currently using QuickBooks for their businesses. One of the features most of my clients and I take advantage of is the option to set up bank feeds. You simply link your bank account to your QuickBooks account, and QuickBooks will automatically import each transaction into your QuickBooks file. You'll save a ton of time not having to manually enter each of these transactions. You simply review each of the transactions and make sure they're getting recorded to the appropriate account, and then click one button and they're in. Want to know more? Head over to financialadventure.com/QuickBooks and learn how you can save 50% off of your first 3 months. Welcome back. If you're a new listener, I want to give you a special welcome if you're joining this podcast for the first time to find out if being a bookkeeper is right for you. If you're one of my regular listeners, I appreciate you being here today as well. You know that I talk about mastering your small business finances and the topics that ultimately impact your bottom line. Well, having your books in order is a necessary part of owning a business. We all know that business owners need to file a tax return, and to be able to do this, you need to keep accurate records for your business. As a business owner, you can either do this on your own or rely on a bookkeeper to help you accomplish this essential task. You may be asking yourself if bookkeeping is right for me, if starting a bookkeeping business is right for me, And would I be able to create my own profitable bookkeeping business? These are all great questions, and today I'm going to help you answer these questions. By the end of this podcast, you should know if a bookkeeping business is indeed right for you. You may already know that I have a program for entrepreneurs who want to start, grow, or scale their own bookkeeping business. It's called Elevate Your Bookkeeping Business. As a CPA, I see the need for bookkeepers all the time. I wanted to take the same framework I used to start my bookkeeping business and help others become bookkeeping business owners as well. Not just ordinary bookkeepers who do the bare minimum. I wanted to help bookkeepers who really wanted to excel at helping business owners with accurate and timely financial information. You'll hear me talk about my program from time to time, but I want you to know that when I talk about starting a bookkeeping business, that it isn't a business where you'll get rich quick. I'll be fully honest with you because I want you to make sure that you make the right decision when you're thinking about starting your own bookkeeping business. I didn't start my bookkeeping business and show huge profits in the first months, but I was profitable. That's one of the amazing things about bookkeeping businesses. There are very little startup costs and your overhead is low, which is why it's one of the top profitable businesses out there. As time went on, I was able to refine my profitable bookkeeping business to the point where I have it today. I'm in control of my business, and I have the control to take on as much or as little work that I want. All right, let's start off with talking about owning your own business. It doesn't matter if you own a bookkeeping business or any other business. Starting a business takes a lot of effort and determination. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it, right? You may need to put in some long, hard hours at the beginning of your business, but in the long run, all of these efforts should pay off. You may be thinking that owning your own business will give you more control of your schedule, the ability to spend more time with your family, and not have to feel guilty when you need to take off time for family. This was actually one of the biggest reasons I wanted to start my own bookkeeping business. You might also be thinking that you would enjoy the freedom to take on only the projects that you're interested in doing. You may want to work from home, the office, or even the beach. You might want additional income to help pay off debt or do something that you really enjoy, like traveling. Another benefit of owning your own business is that you are in control of how much or how little you make in your business. You're the one who decides how much time you'll be spending in your business. You're in control and you make all of the decisions. How does it feel to think you could be in control of your future? Next, now that we've talked a little about what it takes to own a business, let's dive a little deeper into specifically a bookkeeping business. If you're wondering if you have what it takes to be a bookkeeper, let's cover some of the criteria I believe are important aspects of being a bookkeeper. The first and most obvious question you may be asking yourself is, do I need to be good with numbers or math? Well, my answer to this is that you don't have to love numbers, but this will be something that you'll be working with every day. So I want you to make sure that you're okay with working with numbers. I don't want you to think you need to do all the math in your head. That's the glory of technology nowadays. Bookkeeping has changed so much, even just during my lifetime alone. If you feel you have good computer skills and are able to pay attention to details, this will be very beneficial for you. You should be organized and be able to make decisions on your own. Remember, you're in control when you own your own business. You want to make sure that you have good communication skills because talking to clients will be a big part of your business. So you need to be comfortable with doing this. I'm not saying that you need to be an extrovert by any means. I'm totally an introvert, and I truly enjoy working with my clients. I love how much of an impact I can make on others when I explain complicated matters to them, and they tell me how grateful they are for helping them to understand. That's also probably one of the reasons I started doing this podcast. Again, remember, I'm an introvert, so things like this are a little out of my comfort zone, but when you put your mind to it, you can do anything. There are two more really important factors: knowledge and confidence. You don't need to have an accounting degree to do bookkeeping. I will admit it's nice to have, but having an understanding of the basics of bookkeeping when you're just getting started will be beneficial. If you don't already have this, don't worry. This knowledge is something that you will develop and learn over time. The technology and the software that's available now really helps with this as well. Many are set up so that you don't even really need to know accounting, but you do need to understand how everything works. There's nothing like getting into the real world and learning bookkeeping. It's so much different than any class on bookkeeping that you could take. There are no two businesses that are alike, and there is such a variety of lessons that you will learn as you start to do bookkeeping. Confidence will many times hold people back. I get it, and I've been there myself. When I started my own bookkeeping business, and I was trying to get my first client, I was by no means confident in myself. I knew I could do the work. I had been doing bookkeeping for years prior to starting my own bookkeeping business, but my confidence level was low. Once I got my first client, it grew a little, and over time, I became more and more confident, not only in the work that I was doing, but also in myself. I promise this will happen for you as well. It just takes time. Lastly, I want to mention how important it is to have a community where you can ask questions. I know personally when I started my bookkeeping business, I felt like I was working all alone. I didn't have anyone who I could ask questions to or even bounce ideas off of. This really made starting my business hard. This is the reason I wanted to create a community for bookkeepers or people who were thinking about starting a bookkeeping business to have a place where they could go to get their questions answered. If you're interested, you can join other bookkeepers just like you in my free bookkeeper community. You can go to financialadventure.com/bookkeeper community to join. So, back to that question. Is starting a bookkeeping business right for you? Take some time to really think this over. Ask yourself if you feel like you have the persistence and determination to start a business. Do you feel like you have the qualifications to be a bookkeeper? And if not, do you feel like you could learn or develop these skills over time? How would you feel to know you are in charge of your future? I hope this episode was helpful for you, and I'll be continuing this series with another episode next week when I'll dive deeper into what a day in the life of a bookkeeper looks like, so you can get a feel for what you'll be getting yourself into if you decide to continue with your journey to start a bookkeeping business. As I mentioned earlier, I'm the founder of the Elevate Your Bookkeeping Business program, and if you decide you're on the right path with starting your own bookkeeping business, I'm looking forward to helping you create your own profitable bookkeeping business. I'll be holding a Jumpstart Your Bookkeeping Business workshop on Monday, November 22nd at 6:00 p.m. Central Time. In this live workshop, you'll learn 3 major mistakes to avoid when starting your bookkeeping business, exactly what you need to do to set up your bookkeeping business, how you can get your bookkeeping software for free, and the necessary equipment and other startup costs you may incur when starting your own bookkeeping business. You can go to financialadventure.com/workshop to sign up. I hope to see you there. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me at financialadventure.com/contact-us. I personally respond to all my messages. I'll post links to these and other valuable resources for you where you're listening to this podcast and in the show notes. All right, to recap this episode. Number 1, having your books in order is a necessary part of owning a business. All business owners need to file tax returns, and to be able to do this, they need to keep accurate records for their business. As a business owner, they can either do this on their own, or they can rely on a bookkeeper to help them accomplish this essential task. Number 2, by the end of this podcast, you should know if a bookkeeping business is indeed right for you. Number 3, it doesn't matter if you own a bookkeeping business or any other business. Starting a business takes a lot of effort and determination. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. You may need to put in some long, hard hours at the beginning of your business, but in the long run, all of these efforts should pay off. Number 4, you may be thinking that owning your business will give you more control of your schedule, the ability to spend more time with your family, and not have to feel guilty when you need to take time off for your family. You might be thinking you'd enjoy the freedom to take on the projects you're only interested in doing. You may want to work from home, the office, or even the beach. You may want additional income to help pay off debt or do something that you really enjoy, like traveling. Number 5, when you have your own business, you are in control and you make the decisions. Number 6, you don't have to love numbers or be good with math, but this is something that you'll be working with every day, so I want to make sure that you're okay with working with numbers. Number 7, if you feel you have good computer skills and are able to pay attention to details, this will be very beneficial for you. You should be organized and be able to make decisions on your own. Number 8, you want to make sure that you have good communication skills because talking to clients will be a big part of your business, so you need to be comfortable doing this. Number 9, you don't need to have an accounting degree to do bookkeeping. Having an understanding of the basics of bookkeeping when you're just getting started will be beneficial, but if you don't already have this, don't worry. This knowledge is something that you will develop and learn over time. The technology and software that's available now really helps with this as well. There's nothing like getting into the real world and learning bookkeeping. It's so much different than any class on bookkeeping that you could take. Number 10, confidence will many times hold people back. When you start your own bookkeeping business and you get your first client, your confidence will grow, and over time, you will become more confident in not only the work that you do, but also in yourself. Number 11, it's important to have a community where you can ask questions. I know personally when I started my bookkeeping business, I felt like I was working all alone. It's important to be able to have someone that you can ask questions to or bounce ideas off of. And you know I'm going to ask, what's at least one thing that you will take away from this episode that will help your business succeed and grow your bottom line? If you need some accountability, join our private Facebook community and post your action item. We'd love to support you. Thanks for taking the time to tune into this episode of Mastering Your Small Business Finances. If you enjoyed this episode as much as I enjoyed creating it for you, I'd love for you to give it a 5-star rating and subscribe to the show so you never miss an episode. Visit financialadventure.com for the show notes, links from this episode, and while you're there, leave a comment if you have a topic you're interested in learning more about that affects your bottom line. If you're looking for a community where you can ask questions and get feedback about your small business, join my private Facebook group. You can find the links to this group and more on financialadventure.com. And remember, any financial information shared on this podcast is not to be considered professional, financial, or tax advice and should not be solely relied upon. Please consult your CPA or tax advisor for an opinion on your specific circumstances. I'm looking forward to having you tune in next time. Until then, dream big, follow your heart, and love what you do.